Some babies do not need more tricks at bedtime. They need tomorrow to feel like yesterday in all the ways. That is the hidden reason a perfectly loved baby can still seem edgy, clingy, fussy, watchful, or impossible to settle. Parents usually blame themselves for not being calm enough, patient enough, or organized enough when the missing piece is pattern. Your baby is not asking for a flawless home. Your baby is asking whether comfort arrives in a recognizable rhythm. When that rhythm disappears, little things feel bigger. A short delay, a bright room, a rushed transfer can suddenly overwhelm. And that is why one ordinary afternoon can unravel fast, even when you fed them, held them, and did everything. This matters because predictability shapes more than behavior. It helps build emotional safety, stress recovery, trust, and eventually real confidence. So if your baby seems sensitive, clingy, easily startled, or suddenly difficult, keep listening, because the pattern underneath changes everything. Babies come into the world with immature brains, but not blank ones. They are scanning for order, timing, and sequence. Before they understand language, they understand patterns, the same face returning, the same touch soothing, the same routine signaling relief. That is early prediction at work. The brain loves knowing what is next because prediction lowers stress and frees energy. When a baby can predict your response, their body spends less bracing. Less bracing means easier feeding, sleeping, and engaging. That is why a baby may settle the moment you begin your usual bedtime song before sleep has actually arrived. The song is not magic by itself. It works because it belongs to a sequence your baby trusts so deeply. Parents often chase the perfect tool. The baby often needs the familiar pathway more than the supposedly miraculous solution today. Think about how adults feel in turbulence. Uncertainty makes minor sensations feel serious, while predictability helps the body stay calmer. A baby lives much closer to that feeling. Their nervous system is young, fast reacting, and dependent on external structure. You become part of that structure. Your voice, pace, timing, and touch tell your baby whether this moment feels manageable. That is what emotional safety looks like in infancy. Not speeches, not perfect patience, but repeated experiences that make sense. And babies feel when life stops making sense. They cannot explain it, but their bodies express it through behavior first. Maybe your baby feeds well morning, then arches away by afternoon. Maybe nothing changed except the rhythm surrounding the feeding. Noise in the kitchen, a missed nap, visitors talking loudly, your tension. Small shifts can stack until swallowing feels harder. Parents often search for the one cause. Babies are usually responding to the whole emotional weather surrounding the moment itself. This is especially visible at bedtime because bedtime asks a baby to release control and drift into separation for sleep. If the path towards sleep changes wildly every night, your baby cannot relax early. They must stay alert longer first. That is why a predictable bedtime routine works even when it feels almost boring to adults who want faster answers. Boring is powerful for babies. Repetition tells the brain we have been here before, and before ended safely in sleep. That same principle matters after waking too. A familiar greeting, light diaper change, and cuddle can organize the morning gently. Predictability is not just about sleep routines. It includes how you repair after crying, reconnect after errands, and begin feedings. It is the repeated emotional architecture of daily life. Your baby learns when things get hard. Help arise like this. This is where perfection can actually get in the way. Perfect parents keep changing tactics, trying to eliminate every tear. But babies do not need endless novelty and comfort. They need enough consistency to recognize the road back to calm. Imagine crying in a foreign city where every helper chooses a different route, voice, and destination. Relief would take longer. Now imagine someone says the same reassuring words, holds you similarly, and guides you through the same sequence again gently. That is often how babies experience soothing. Familiarity does not erase feelings, but it makes those feelings less disorienting inside. This matters during crying because crying activates you too. Your urgency can accidentally add unpredictability right when structure matters most. You bounce differently, change rooms, switch sounds, pass the baby off, then question yourself. The baby feels all that shifting. A calmer strategy is not more impressive. It is more predictable, Pause, pick up, hold steadily, soften your voice, repeat. Even if the crying continues, your baby is learning something valuable. Hard feelings can happen inside a stable relationship too. That lesson becomes attachment security over time. Not never upset, never frustrated, but repeatedly helped, understood, and brought back together. Attachment is often misunderstood as constant closeness. Really, it is the confidence that connection can be found again when needed. Predictability strengthens that confidence. Your baby learns your absence has shape, your return has shape, and comfort follows recognizable lines. That is why routines help separation feel survivable. A goodbye ritual, a familiar blanket, the same reunion words all matter. Your baby may cry when you leave. Predictability does not erase sadness. It tells sadness what happens next after separation. That lowers panic. Panic is different from protest. One says, "I dislike this." The other says reality suddenly feels confusing. Babies also crave predictability in play, not because they hate fun, but because play is still emotional information for them. Peekaboo works partly because disappearance and return become organized. Surprise lands inside a pattern, and that makes delight possible there. Without enough predictability, novelty can tip into overload. A baby who turns away may not be rude or bored yet. Turning away can be the body hitting pause. It is your baby protecting attention before stimulation becomes emotionally expensive today. That matters during face-to-face time too. Babies sometimes look away while still engaged because engagement needs recovery breaks. Parents often lean closer right then, trying harder. But respect for the pause helps babies return without feeling flooded inside. In that moment, predictability looks like reading the cue and easing back instead of pushing through because interaction seemed good. The same pattern shows up with overstimulation after outings. Your baby seemed cheerful there, then fell apart once home afterward. Parents wonder why the crash came late. Because babies often hold together until the environment quiets enough to release stress. A predictable homecoming routine can soften that drop. Lower lights, quieter voices, familiar holding, fewer decisions, same order each time. You are telling the nervous system, the big world is over now. Here's the pathway back to safety again. This is where oxytocin becomes practical, not abstract. Warm eye contact, touch, and predictable comfort help the body trust connection. Oxytocin is sometimes called the bonding hormone, but parents can think of it as the chemistry of safe togetherness inside. And safe togetherness becomes easier to feel when care follows recognizable patterns. The body relaxes faster when love feels dependable. That does not require a perfect mood every day. Babies can handle ordinary stress when the relationship still feels coherent. Coherent means your responses may vary slightly, but the emotional message stays similar. I notice you, I stay, I help. That repeated message is more regulating than occasional perfect performances, followed by scattered, rushed, or inconsistent care during ordinary moments. Babies learn from averages, not highlight reels. One magical bedtime matters less than the thousands of ordinary transitions surrounding it. That should be deeply relieving for parents. You do not need to win every moment. You need enough dependable moments. Enough dependable moments teach the brain powerful people can be counted on, feelings can move through, and repair will come. That belief starts early, in tiny repetitions adults barely notice. The pause before lifting. The whisper before dimming lights down. The predictable hand on the chest, the same rocking cadence, the familiar order of diaper, sleep sack, cuddle, then crib. These details look small from the outside. Inside your baby, they become landmarks that reduce uncertainty and organize expectation daily. When expectation is organized, frustration changes shape. A baby can tolerate waiting slightly better when the sequence feels familiar already. That is why some babies calm when you simply begin the routine, even before the need itself has been solved. The routine signals help is moving toward them. Prediction itself becomes soothing because uncertainty was intensifying the discomfort all along. This helps explain why babies sometimes cry harder when a parent hesitates, switches strategies, or seems unsure during soothing moments. They are not judging you, they are feeling inconsistency in the response, and that can feel bigger than the problem. Sometimes the best thing you can do is become more boring. Same words, same chords, same cold, same calm sequence again today. Boring is not emotionally empty. For babies, boring can feel legible, and legible experiences are easier to survive and trust. This becomes crucial during developmental leaps, when your baby suddenly seems clingier, wakeful, more distractible, or oddly sensitive than usual. Leaps bring new awareness, and new awareness can feel destabilizing. The world gets bigger before the baby feels stronger inside. During those phases, predictability works like handrail. It does not remove the stairs, it makes climbing less scary though. That is why a baby may suddenly want the exact song, exact chair, exact parent, or exact sequence at bedtime. It is not manipulation. It is not bad habit. It is a nervous system asking for recognizable ground right now. Once you see that, frustration softens. You stop asking why are they being hard and start asking what feels uncertain. That question changes your tone, and tone matters enormously. Babies hear nervous systems more than words during the first years. A tense, soothing voice may contain loving words, but the body underneath says, hurry, worry, or something is wrong here. A steadier voice says something else. This is hard, but I know this road, and I am staying with you. That is co-regulation in a sentence. I lend you my organization until your body can borrow it for now. Co-regulation is not spoiling. It is biology. Babies need outside nervous systems before they can build stronger inner ones. And predictability makes co-regulation easier because the borrowed calm arrives in familiar packaging. The body recognizes the pattern quickly. That packaging can be surprisingly ordinary: your shoulder, the hallway light, the sound of running water before the nap starts. What matters is not whether another family would copy it. What matters is whether your baby knows what it predicts. This is why routines should fit real life, not fantasy life. Predictability must be sustainable, or it disappears under pressure. A complicated, perfect routine often collapses on tired nights. A simple, familiar routine survives, and survival is what teaches trust. That is good news for parents who feel behind. Your baby does not need aesthetic. Your baby needs signals. Clear beginnings, clear endings, familiar transitions, repeated comfort, the same emotional message delivered through everyday care, over and over again. That repeated message helps the brain wire toward expectation instead of vigilance. And expectation is kinder on a growing body. Vigilance drains babies. It can look like light sleep, abrupt crying, jumpy limbs, frequent waking, and trouble staying present long. A vigilant baby is not broken. Often their system is working very hard to manage a world that feels inconsistent. This is also why your own regulation matters, though not in a perfectionistic way. Babies do not need robotic calm. They need enough steadiness that your care still feels organized even when you're tired, touched out, or emotionally stretched. You can sound human and still be regulating. You can feel frustrated and still offer a predictable path back home. In fact, babies benefit from repair because repair is part of predictability too. Rupture, reconnection, relief. That pattern teaches resilience. Maybe you got sharp after no sleep. Maybe the diaper change turned rushed. Repair sounds like a soft return afterward. You pick them up again. You reset the tone. You show their body that hard moments can come back together. That is an enormous lesson for a baby brain. Not everything feels smooth, but connection is repairable and returnable there. Predictability also supports curiosity, which surprises people. Many parents think routines limit exploration, but secure systems explore more with confidence. When a baby trusts the base, they spend less energy checking the base. That frees energy for looking, reaching, learning. So predictability is not the enemy of development. It is the platform from which development can feel emotionally affordable daily. This is serve and return at home. Your baby signals, you respond, and the repeated loop becomes a trusted conversation. Serve and return is not about performing perfectly on cue. It is about a responsive pattern that keeps happening consistently. The baby learns my signal changes something. My cry, gaze, kick, or smile enters a world that answers back meaningfully. That is how agency begins. Predictability teaches not just safety, but influence. I matter here. My needs land somewhere real. Without that, babies can look fussier or flatter, Too much unpredictability sometimes creates distress, and sometimes it creates withdrawal instead. Withdrawal is easy to miss because it can look quiet. Less eye contact, less sparkle, less reaching, less flexible mood. That quiet does not always mean contentment. Sometimes it means a baby conserving energy in a world that feels hard. Again, the answer is not perfect simulation or perfect calm. It is emotionally readable care that repeats often enough daily. Readable care tells your baby, I know how to be with you. Even when today is messy, I remain recognizable. That recognition may be the real opposite of chaos. Not silence, not perfect sleep, not zero tears. Recognition still matters. And babies notice it in ways adults overlook. The same burnt cloth smell, the same lullaby rhythm, the same greeting. Predictability can even live inside a parent habit, like pausing before reacting, then approaching the baby with the same softness. That pause protects both of you. It keeps your fear from leading, and it keeps your baby from absorbing confusion. Over time, these ordinary pauses and sequences become internalized. Your baby starts expecting comfort, and expectation changes the experience itself. A familiar routine can make pain feel smaller, waiting feel shorter, and separation feel less endless because the story continues. Your baby is always building stories, even without words. Stories about how stress feels, how help comes, how mornings begin. And the best stories for a young nervous system are not glamorous. They are simple, repeated, and emotionally dependable daily. That is why predictability beats perfection. Perfection is impossible to trust because it cannot last. Predictability can last through stress. And what lasts is what teaches. Not the extraordinary night, not the exaggerable schedule. The lasting pattern underneath teaches safety. So, when your baby cries at the usual hour, do not just ask what is wrong. Ask what feels uncertain. When they cling after a busy day, ask what overwhelmed the system and which familiar cues might help them reorganize. When they turn away mid-play, ask whether they need less input, not better entertainment, or a more stimulating toy. When bedtime falls apart, ask whether the pathway stayed recognizable or whether too much of the sequence changed at once. These questions move you from self-blame to,